Hi, in this video I will demonstrate the whole process of setting up ranks UI in the widget blueprint and then using material parameter collection control everything with sequencer. So let's get started. Firstly, I will show you textures I prepared for ranking icons and progress bar. So for progress bar I have custom two icons. You can use your own. So one is frame. So first one looks like this. So this is frame for progress bar, and inside it will be filling. When you will use texture for UI, make sure that you have user interface set as compression setting, and texture group is as well UI, and there are no MIP maps, so it's only one. So we don't need any MIP maps. And here, for example, we can see this is our alpha, where black will be transparent, and in this case it's gray. We can later control if we want to make it more white, so this will be as well more and less transparent. This is what will fill inside of that progress bar. So as well we have alpha, we have user interface and UI and no MIP maps. And then I have two atlases. I have two atlases of ranking icons. Okay. Usually for UI we're trying to make as less as possible empty space, okay, because it's wasting of pixels. But in our case, what I wanted to do, I wanted to scale it down and up and do some rotation for this. And because we're using flipbook, right, when we're scaling and when we're doing rotation, we can see other icons. I'm masking that, but to make it easier, I just created bigger gap between them. Okay, so I will post a link for this atlas, so you can use same, or you can create your own, especially if you will have your own custom icons. And again, two atlases, they have user interface, UI, no MIP maps, and each icon have alpha, okay, for transparency and for parts which will be visible. Okay, let's start with creating material. Progress bar. We'll start with progress bar first. And yeah, let's open it. Add it here. First thing, we're setting from the surface to user interface and from opaque to translucent because we have transparency in it. Okay, let's grab to our textures and bring in here. So this is our frame and this is what we will move. So idea is super simple. We have this frame which we will use alpha from this frame. We can even add it now and we can preview it here. Okay. So we have this and everything else will be transparent. And then we have this texture which we will just pan it, so horizontally, from the left to the right and back. Okay, so we will just move. And because we're using transparency of this, when this will be off to the side, it will be invisible in here. So we only will see part of this, which will be in here inside of the frame. Let's combine them together. So we need lerp. So we have this one in here. Then we have second part in B, and now we will use this one alpha as a mask, and then we can connect it here and it's updated. You see we have already this filling. Now we can use texture coordinates. We can do add node, straight away connect to UVs, and in here we basically need to control it horizontally. So we have U and V, or X and Y, and we need vector 2, but we want control only one. So I will create parameter only for the one. We can call it progress. Later I will swap this with MPC. For now it's fine. We're using 1- node. This will invert, because I already was testing, so I know that with this addition and to work between 0 and 1, I will need to invert this number. So now we have append vector. And as I said, like for the second one, I'm not creating parameter, I'm just creating constant and keeping it on a 0. And that's it. So we have this one, and we can even preview. Yeah, we can even preview. So you see, like we can move that. It repeats. To stop repeating, click on the texture sample and do from texture assets and clamp. And now look, it's gone. Okay. So you see we have, let's say if this will be 0, so it will be empty, 0.5, so it's half, 1, it's fully loaded. So it's already working. Now maybe we want add some opacity control, okay, for this bar. So we add multiply, then progress bar intensity. Okay. And you see, like I can now make it kind of more visible, less visible. So 1, it means we're not changing at all it. Okay. And maybe let's start it with something like a little bit lower. Okay, so we have this one. Then what I want to create is gradient from the left to the right, just to add some additional color, because we can have just textures with a verse UI, okay? But with a widget UI, we have ability to use material, and with material we can add on more and more kind of like a cool stuff. So we can animate this stuff. I don't want to go fancy with this one, but I'd at least do something like basic, okay? So I will do some noise and some gradient color change, okay? So again, to do this, I need texture coordinates. It will be simple gradient from the left to the right. Okay, so I'm doing that. Then masking our, I think it's red channel. So we can always preview it, right click, start preview node. Yeah, so we can see like gradient already starts on the left side. So now we want control it a little bit, so we can add subtract. We can call offset mask, do this, and we can now start previewing this node. So we have same, because we're not changing here anything, but now look, if I will increase, it moves to the right side. Okay, so let's maybe keep it something low, like 0.25. Stop previewing. This works with a whole coordinate space. Yeah, so hold this box space. To make it work with our progress bar, we just need to multiply it. And by multiplying, I mean alpha. So if we will multiply alpha and start previewing, you see, now we have our that piece, and it's masked with this one. So we have this mask. I will create reroute node. Let's call it offset mask. So we can use it wherever we want. We can even name it. So it's easier then to understand what was there. Okay. So that's done. So now we can combine this two. We can keep it like that. Let's add lerp. Then this one goes into A. Let's add another color, maybe convert into parameter. So we can control that in the material instance. Gradient color, okay, because this is gradient, not just pure color. And we can add this to that. And for now, let's see how offset will work. We can connect it here, and instead of black, maybe let's add some red so we can really see. Yeah, so we see it's already working. And now with this mask, we can control that. Cool. So this working. What I want finally add some kind of like a fire kind of like a elements and like movement. So it looks like a fire, you know. Okay, so to do this, I will add noise. maybe this one. See, there are a few different noise we can choose from. And I will create 2 samples. Why? Because one will move one direction, another will move opposite direction or a little bit sideways. It's kind of like then we're subtracting one from another, and it kind of like makes it more dynamic looking, yeah, instead of like if we will just move this noise texture, we will see repetition, yeah, that it moves same way always. But with this way, it's kind of like a nice looking dynamic. Okay, so we have this. We want to control scale of the noise. So let's again add texture coordinates. Okay, then multiplication. And instead of uniform, I think it should be non-uniform scaling. So let's again create vector 2. So I will do append. And in here, let's create noise scale X, noise scale Y. And default, let's be 1 and 1 for now. We will preview it in a second. Okay. We have this. Okay, now we need panel nodes. We need 2 separate ones because, as I said, they should go in different directions, maybe even slightly different speed. So we won't control it separately. Okay, so we can connect coordinates here and here. Same. We can double click to create this reroute node. Okay, and now we need control this speed. Okay, we don't need time. It will still loop. I can Control C, Control V, append. Here as well. Now let's create. So basically we need 4 parameters. Let's call it noise 1, speed X, speed Y, speed X again, and noise 2, speed Y. Okay. And actually I can show a little different way to do it. So instead of 4 separate parameters like this, we could create our vector 3, convert to parameter, and we can call it noise or noises speed. Okay, and now when we convert it to parameter, we can see we have 4 numbers. So it's RGB and alpha A. Okay, and in here you see these values. So we have RGBA, we have zeros, and these actually numbers can work same as these color parameters. Okay, and even cooler that if you will go down here, channel names, you can even name them. So look, I can call it same noise 1, speed X, speed Y. So I will create this one. So it's a little bit different from my previous videos. So you can see a different way to do it. Okay. So look, now we've got these parameters in here. Okay. And I can put this mask here, or I can drag and drop from here and create, let's say, append. Yeah, because we know that X and Y, it's for one mask, and then this X and Y is for another mask. So we can create 2 append nodes like this, and then reroute node, and call it noise 1 speed, and then second one noise 2 speed. Cool. That's it. We have this, and we can even name it. I mean, we can even comment it. Noises speed. Nice and clean. And now check this out. We can remove all this, and we can just take this noise 1 speed, noise 2 speed. Nice and clean. Cool. Okay, so we have this. Let's add maybe here some values. Okay, so now we can do subtraction. When I'm working with, oh, we can even see they started moving. So it means this parameter is working. When I'm working with noise, because it's a black and white only, I like to work just with red channel. Let's add power. Use it as a contrast. Noise mask contrast. Let's maybe add some small number. Should be fine. Actually, we can already preview that. So look, I forgot to show you. So this is how looks our mask. That's what I was saying. You see, like the both textures moving different directions, and when they're subtracting, so it looks like this. And then with our power, we can control a bit more kind of like intensity like that, or more adding more gray, or when it's really close to 0, so it becomes just pure white and black. So something like 0.2 is fine. Now what I want, instead of applying this noise on the whole bar, I want again where I have gradient. So let's add our offset mask. Now let's lerp. Let's add this one to A. Let's keep this one on 1. I think it should be fine. And maybe to control this intensity of the mask, I will add through the multiply. Offset mask intensity. Okay, let's start with 1. Otherwise, there will be nothing. We can preview. Yeah, so we can see our bar there. So you see what we're doing? In here, it's a pure white. So it means color will be lit properly. But look, at the end, we will have this effect, okay, that it's kind of like a flamey something. So let's maybe increase like this. We'll see later how it will look, but I think it should be fine. Then again, we can create reroute node. Call it noise mask. Okay. So we've done with mask. Nice and clean. Now we need to combine with our progress bar. Let's make more space. Again, we will need lerp. Let's grab our color. What I will do, I will first multiply this color with our mask, noise mask. Our noise mask. Okay. Now we can connect this one into B. Yeah, into B. This one goes to A. And yeah, it's the same. So I will want, this one is here. This I will use for something else. Okay, so it's already looking good. So we have that thing. And do I clamp? Yeah, I clamp. Okay, let's try add here saturation. Okay, see, it's gone. So basically what we did in here, we clamped it between 0 and 1. And now it looks good here, and look, really nice effect. Simple, but nice. Okay, so we have this. And lastly, what I want to add is our glint, which I created in my latest video. Okay, so right click here and search for the glint, and I have my glint. When you're searching, if you can't find it, open your glint. And in the last tutorial, I think I forgot to mention, when you're deselecting everything, you have these few parameters, and you need to tick this expose to library. This is exactly what it means. If you want it to appear in your search, this is how it will look. So we have our glint. Cool. Now let's create color. I won't create parameter, but you can convert this as a parameter, so then you can control color of that. Let's set it to white, and maybe I will set increase to 50. It won't glow because this is UI. We don't have emissive control. This is just color, so it won't shine, okay? But we still, with this 50, we're increasing intensity. It's kind of like the same as do, let's say, multiplication and intensity, okay? So it's intensity inside of already color. Okay, so we have this one. Again, we will connect this one to the A. We connect color to the B, and we can connect glint into our alpha and connecting that. Okay, let's clean up a little bit. Getting messy. It's fine. And look, we have already our glint effect. Okay, so now what I will do, right click, create material instance, progress bar. So this we can use then in our widget blueprint. And we have our glint whole stuff. So we can remove delay, for example, if you want, or we can put like bigger delay. Up to you. We can, for example, make it smaller, like thinner. Then we can control speed if we want. All this stuff. Plus, we can control our gradient color. Yeah, so look, we can make it look like this, that. And we can control our speed. Okay, so it looks like it's a color because same parameter is used for the color. But if you will expand it, you see we have all these names for our speed. And when we're looking here, see, like if I will change parameter, I can control now speed. Okay, so we have this one. Now another one will be for rank icons. So right click, material. Let's call it flipbook because we can use them later for something else maybe. Okay, let's open this one. Again, user interface, translucency. Let's bring our icons. As you already saw, we have 9 icons here, 9 icons here, in total 18. So we have 2 atlases. And let's add flipbook. So we will need to switch between atlases while we're still playing frames. And we will use flipbook. Then we need rows, columns, and basically progress, control progress of that. Okay, let's create parameter. So it will be rows. And this one, columns. Okay, so we know that it will be 3 by 3. We can already set this. Connect this to rows, these columns. Now we'll do simple math. So we will multiply this together. Okay, and we will add division, and we will keep 1, and it will be divided by this. So in this input, we need to have from 0 to 1. Okay, and we have 9 icons. Basically, we will do multiplication of that. So we're getting how many icons in total we have. So we know that now we have 9 icons. Then we're taking this 1 because 1 is maximum number, and we're dividing now by 9, and we're getting exact number, which will tell number of the icon for the flipbook. And now how to tell that number. So we're multiplying now what we've got here by our number. icon number. Okay, like this, and we can connect now into our flipbook like that. Now we can grab from UVs and connect to our two texture samples. What sometimes I notice that if I'm using original textures inside of the texture sample, which uses these UVs, sometimes after first row it stops working. What helps is basically take two of these and convert them into texture object like this. What's different between them? So texture object is our original texture. That's why here is only one output. Sample, it means that we're giving order to GPU to sample pixels from this texture, okay? And then when it samples, we can get more data of that, yeah? So we can get UVs, for example, data, we can get channels data, all this stuff. Okay, same like we can do like, do we want to wrap it, clump it, all these parameters. In here, we don't have that. Look, if I'm clicking, I can only set like what type of the texture this is. That's it. So we will connect this to texture and this to texture. If you want, you can right click, convert to this parameter as well. And then in material instance, if you want to swap these atlases, you will be able to do this. Now we need lerp. We have one and we have another. Oh, actually, I will use RGBA. So then we don't need two lerps because we will need opacity as well. So it means I will need RGB and then for alpha another lerp. But if we're using RGBA, we can use just only one lerp. So we do this and then we can have parameter atlas number. Okay, so it means 0, we will use this one. When it's 1, we will use this one. Now we can connect this one directly to our final color. See, so we still have this background. And if we will use mask, we can choose only alpha in here, connect this to opacity, and we have our background removed. So this is working. What extra I want to add in here is our glint. Why not? So again, this will go to A, this go to final color. Let's search for glint. Let's add glint in here. Create color. Again, probably white. But the same value as for progress bar into B. You see we have error. Why? Because in here, we're actually exporting RGBA. So it's 4 channels. And in here we have only 3 channels. Simple fix. Again, we can use mask like this. Let's clean this up more like that. And now in here, we're just using 3 channels, RGB. Okay, and look, nothing is broken anymore. And we should have our glint. Yeah, and we have our glint. Now, what I want is I want scale it down and then scale it up and some rotation. What I will do it for? So when we will progress to another rank, so then we will do this kind of like a transition. So instead of just swapping icon, we will do some like animation. It will look better. Okay, so we need texture coordinates. Then we need scale by center. Connect directly into here. We can take our parameter and let's call it for now transition. Let's have it at 1 by default. And then we need rotation. We can use this custom rotator. Again, UVs into UVs. And the rotation will be this parameter, same parameter. And then we can take this and connect into UVs. Let's preview. Look, if I'm going down, see my texture rotates and it scales down. So when it will be 0, it will disappear. But you see problem, okay? We see another icons. We need to fix that and we will mask it. Sphere mask and let's use lerp for that. I will grab this parameter as a mask. Let's use this as a radius. I already tested, so 0.4 should be fine for my icon size. And this one should be 0. Then we're connecting to our sphere mask. We need again texture coordinates in here. And into B, we need set center. Okay. And center in texture coordinates is 0.5 because textures goes from 0 to 1. I mean, UVs goes from 0 to 1. So it means center, it will be 0.5. We don't need to change this parameter, so I will create constant 0.5 into B. And in hardness, again, I was testing as well. So I think it should be fine with 0.9. Kind of really little bit of the softness. We can even start previewing that, how it looks. So this is our sphere. And now look, if I will reduce this number, so our sphere will scale down with our icon. And again, what's inside of the white will be visible. What's inside of the black, it will be transparent. And this is exactly what we need. So we have this. And now it's simple thing to do is just multiplication. Because again, what we're multiplying by black, it will be invisible. What multiplying by white, it will be visible. So it's like that. And now let's save and check. So you see our icon now really tiny, but we don't see anything on the screen. So on a 0, it will be totally gone. On 1, fully visible, and plus it rotates. Okay, so with materials we're done, but we can't control directly materials from the verse, okay, or from anywhere else. What we can control with verse, it's a sequencers through the cinematic devices, okay? And in a sequencer, we can control material parameter collection. And this is how we can control then indirectly materials. So let's create our material parameter collection. Call it UI. So for the first one, we want, let's call it progress. So we will use this in the progress bar material. Second one, it will be icon number, rank transition, and last one, atlas number. Okay, so progress bar starts with a 0, icon number starts with a 0, rank transition should be 1, and atlas number should be 0. Now, let's get back to our progress bar. Let's find our progress. Let's delete this. We can take now MPC, drop it here. Now select here our progress and connect. Okay. Now look, if I'm going back to our MPC, we can see it even in a material instance. So now look, we have our progress and we can control it like that. Okay. So make sure when you will animate, it's not going beyond 0 and 1, because we can't clump here, same as in material sometimes we can, but here it will go as crazy. So you need to control that, but you can see that when it's on 1, it will be like this. When it's 0, it will be like this. So we will start with a 0. Okay, so this works. Let's grab same MPC into here. So we need to swap our transition. Let's Control C, Control V our icon number and our atlas number. Okay, so let's start from this one. Atlas number, delete this and swap. Done. Now icon number. And it's done. And transition number. When you have so many nodes, instead of like reconnecting again, hold Control and click, and you can do like this. And our rank transition. Now what we need is actually animate that. I will create cinematic level sequence. Let's call it progress bar. Okay, double click. So now we're clicking here to add our NPC UI. Okay, now click here. We're adding atlas number, icon number, our progress bar, and our rank transition. Okay, so we have all of that here. And there are two ways to control the ranking system. One way is to have two sequences, one for the progress bar, one for the icons. It's more modular that way, because for the verse, we can control when our progress bar reaching 1, so fully loaded, then resets, reaching 1 and resets. And then when it reaches 1, with another command, we can play another sequencer to swap our ranking icon. But in that case, we need two sequences, but instead of two cinematic devices, we will need, for the multiplayer, of course, if it's single player, it's fine. For the multiplayer, we will need two cinematic devices per player. So let's say if you have set like 10 maximum players in your game, so you need 20 cinematic devices then, okay? Because 10 by 2, 20. Another way is to combine, as I did here, icon numbers and progress bar all in one, and basically have longer sequencer. So this will require one cinematic device per player. You can set 1-to-1 ratio with a second to elimination. So let's say if you want 20 eliminations to fill progress bar, and let's say to allow player to level up to another rank. So in the verse, if you will convert 1-to-1, so it means 20 eliminations, it will be 20 seconds. I really recommend working in seconds instead of frames. I will just keep few of them as demonstration. Then of the recording, I will finish the sequencer just to show you, and then I will play to show how this affects our icons. What I will do first is let's create widget with our progress bar and icon. Okay, so right click. We need user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, widget blueprint. Let's call it just main HUD. Okay, so we need canvas. So canvas is basically represents our screen. If you click on these icons and drag them, you can see all possible screens resolutions. So this way we can preview how our widget will behave on different screens. I will add overlay of the size. Maybe I will something like this, like bigger, and I will anchor it to the left top corner. And maybe I will set 50 by 50 margin from the top and from the left. So now we can add image. This will be our progress bar. Let's grab our progress bar, drop it here. I will keep it on the left side and I will set it here in the center. Then let's add our icon. Again, another image. Actually, I need to create material instance. Ranks. And this one, I will align on the right side and still in the center. Yeah, we can go more because overlay, I'm not set it to size to content. So I'm clamping this one when it's want to go bigger. So I can do it like this. Let's set it 200. Let's go back here. Okay, and maybe do some offset from this right side. Yeah, looks fine. We can compile, save. We don't need any binding here because we're controlling everything for the sequencer. If I will grab now these arrows, we can see that our icons always stays in the left corner. You can adjust for your liking. This is for demonstration, will be fine. When widget is done, I will drag it here so I can see buff and widget. and our sequencer. If you don't have these keying frames, you can make sure that you're on 0, make sure that everything on default, and click this, so it will create keys, and make sure that this auto keying is enabled. So now when you will do change, let's say on this frame, I want change atlas, see it automatically creates key because there's a difference. Okay, so just quickly for demonstration how to key this, so I will do for this 5 seconds, but off the screen I will create proper sequencer and then I will show you final result. Okay, so let's say on 150 we want our progress bar will be on 1, so it's fully loaded. So you see now if I would play, progress bar plays as well. Okay, so that's done. Now what I want is, let's say when I'm coming close, really close to this, I want to start animating my icon. Maybe something here. If I want not to change this parameter until now, so I need again key it. So you see it's not changing, so it's from 1 to 1. And now maybe I want to start to changing, so let's now set it to 0. And now set it to 1. So now look, I have this transition. Now in here, I want icon number still on the 0. I want when it goes down, it's still on the 0. Otherwise, it will start swapping while it's still scaling. But then next frame, okay, when it's still tiny, it won't be visible much. I will set it to 1 and 1 here. Now look, see, we have this simple animation, and same basically with Atlas. Because we're now using 0 Atlas, when we will go to number 8, because we're starting from the 0, after number 8, we need to start again icon number 0, but Atlas changed to 1 in the same way. But now look, if I will play, progress growing, bam, and we have our change. Okay, and now you can see how it looks when I've done. So I just put like some random numbers. This is up for you to decide like when to give another rank to the player. But you can see it's the same principle what I was showing you before. So it's swapping like that. And now if I will start playing, basically we'll go through all ranks. So you see now it's swapped to another Atlas and it's still working. Okay, so this is ready to be connected with a verse. I don't have ready yet code for this. So I'm doing still some experiments, but hopefully soon I will have that. So then I will create another tutorial to wrap it up like full ranking system with widget blueprint. So hopefully this tutorial explains you a lot how to work with widget UIs and how control through the verse and cinematics, all this kind of stuff. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please press that like button and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about future videos. See you soon!